Hello everybody, Mr. G here. Welcome to the last part of this tutorial, where we're going to kind of set up and start committing things in this repository that we've now established. So we have the link between Git and GitHub. That's what we did in the last video. So we're now able to communicate between the two. If we go to our GitHub repository, we can see the empty README file there. So now in Visual Studio here, we want to actually do some coding. We're now working on our programming project, whatever it may have been. In this case, we're going to make a Hello World Python program. So I'm going to commit a couple of extra times here from what I might normally do. Just an example, and to get us a little more familiar with the process of committing and pushing changes. So first thing down here, we need an actual Python file. So I'm going to go touch. And I'm going to remember touch creates a file, and I'm going to call it hello world.py. So it hasn't done anything down here, but we can see up top here, there's now a new untracked file, hello world.py. And something that might pop up here if you haven't actually done any coding in Visual Studio Code yet is, do you want to install the recommended extensions for Python, which is something I recommend you do. So this will come up. It'll say installing. It'll do its job in the background. And it's probably going to pull a couple things up once it is finished installing, and we're going to close them as soon as they open here. So for the time being, back to hello world.py, and for a moment, I don't actually want to put anything in hello world.py yet. Oh, there it goes, it finished. I'm going to close both of these. I just want to start by committing that I've made this file, just like we committed earlier that we added the README file. So down here, I'm going to check my status. It has an untracked file, so I'm going to use git add hello world, and we notice that it's able to fill in the rest with just a few characters because it's a unique name in this directory. So we've added it. Now we can check again. So it's tracked, but it still needs to be committed. So we can do git commit -m, and then in quotes we can put a little note. So I'm going to say added hello world.py. I'm going to press enter. It says it created it. Excellent. And now, if we do git status one more time, we notice a problem here. Your branch is ahead of origin main by one commit. Use git push to publish your local commits. So we're going to do that. We're going to do git push. And this time we no longer need the -u tag. We used it last time because it was our first time pushing to this repository. But in this case, we can just use git push origin main and press enter. That'll take a second. It seems to think everything went all right. So that's excellent. We've now added a file, even if it doesn't have anything in it, and pushed that commit to our repository on GitHub. So now I feel like it's maybe time we actually write some Python, and we're just going to do something super simple here. So up here in the file, hello world.py, if you haven't already opened it, you're going to want to click on it over here to open its editor. And we're going to do a one-liner. It's going to be the word print. You notice it's actually detecting it. That's a good sign. Then we're going to use parentheses and quotes, and we're going to write hello, comma, world. You could write something else in here if you wanted. Whatever is written here is going to get printed out. That's our goal. So print hello world. And at this point, I'm going to use Control S to save. We noticed before I saved, there's this white dot up here. That indicates that this file is changed, but not saved at all. So I'm going to press save. The dot goes away. And now there's an M instead for modified. So first thing I want to do, I want to check and make sure this change that I've made is actually useful. So I'm going to go over here. There's a little triangle button that says run Python file. So I'm going to do that. It says no Python interpreter is selected. So we're going to go select a Python interpreter. Here it doesn't really have anything. So I'm going to choose select at a workspace level. And if you haven't already installed Python, it's going to prompt you to do so. So I'm going to go and install Python. And we'll give that a moment in the background. In the meantime, I know that this one-liner that I wrote is going to work, so I'm going to go ahead and commit and push this change. So first thing, I'm going to check git status every time I make a change, but as you get more comfortable with it, you're going to be aware of the state of git status without actually checking it, so you don't necessarily need to do it every time. So it's installed. That's excellent. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to select a Python interpreter workspace level, and now 3.10.7 shows up. So I'm going to choose that. And now if I click run, It's going to open another terminal. We see it opened a second one over here named Python. Here it shows a file structure, or a couple of file structures, and then it shows the output. So we successfully printed out hello world with this program. So it works. That's excellent. Didn't mean to split that. There we go. So over here now, we're going to go in and we are going to stage our updated Python file. So I'm going to do git add hello world.py. Now it doesn't look like it did anything, but I can do git status just to check. Okay, it's now ready to commit the file. It knows we're keeping track of it. So I'm going to do git commit -m, and my message this time is going to be set up hello world.py, because we already had the file, but we actually wanted to update it. We wanted to add things into it, and that's what this lets me know I did. So we see one file changed, one insertion. We added one line. That's excellent. Now, if we do git status again, we're going to notice we are ahead of origin main. So we want to go here and we want to use that push command, git push origin main. So push to the origin, specifically the branch main. And it's going to update main with that information. So if we went and checked our repository right now, this is what it looked like a few minutes ago. If we click refresh now, we see a couple of things. We see the README still sitting there, but there was an edit 36 seconds ago, apparently, where if we click on this file, we have that one line of code we wrote in there. So it's all set to go. One of the really cool parts about this kind of connection. So now if I ever needed to work on another computer, I could clone instantly the same information that I just uploaded and work with it, which is an excellent resource. Now we're going to do one more thing in this exercise, and that is we've neglected our README markdown file, readme.md. So now that we actually have something in this directory, this hello world file, I'm going to write a couple of lines in the README about what this repository does. So I'm going to say this repository was a learning opportunity for me to practice my Git and GitHub skills. I also started practicing Python with a simple hello world file. So I think that's a pretty adequate README. It gives good information about what this repository is for. So I'm going to Control S to save the file individually. It shows it as modified. So now I'm going to skip the status this time. I'm just going to go through the 3 basic steps. We're going to add readme.md. We are going to commit those changes to readme.md with the note updated readme.md. And now we are going to push to the origin main. I'm going to press enter. We'll have some stuff come up. And if we check our git status quick, it should be everything is status quo. We're up to date, nothing to commit. And the coolest part is now if we go over to our repository here and we refresh, we now have a filled out README and it displays here up front. So this repository is a learning opportunity for me to practice my GitHub skills. I also started practicing Python with a simple hello world file, which they can go up here and check out if they'd like. So thank you for participating in this tutorial. Hopefully this helps you kind of get more adjusted to Git and GitHub, how they work together, what those commands look like, getting used to the Git bash that we've started to use here. And I hope to see you in the future.